people.
Shout out to Top to Bottom Productions.
Oh,
I was
Oh,
muted. So we're learning. We're learning.
okay.
glad
It's
you
good.
didn't. Glad you didn't leave.
See, we would have the whole
So we
show
probably
would have
don't
been.
have no intro, nothing. Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
okay,
you did.
great.
All right.
That's weird though. You heard the music.
Well, there's that. I was probably muted because I joined the stream, but I didn't actually unmute myself because I can't see the screen. I was trying to do it
Oh
backwards.
yeah.
See, this is why my show is called "Oh, I'm Just a Mom," right? It's really a play on words. It's not just saying that I'm just a mom. I'm way more than a mom. However, mom life is real as fuck, and here we are. I was muted,
Right.
so
Yeah.
haha. There's that. But anyway, so we're gonna get back into this topic because we kind of left on a cliffhanger, and we're gonna first introduce my homegirls. Like, actually, I'm not introducing them because they're grown as fuck, and they're gonna introduce themselves. So I'm gonna stop talking, and they're gonna do their thing.
Hey y'all. Hey. For those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Tisa, and I went to high school with these two ladies. Which was a very long time ago in the 1900s. We did graduate in the 2000s though.
Why you gotta do us like that?
Yeah, I love to talk a lot and talk about all things healing, love, growth, and hope. Yeah. So hi.
Oh, you're so
Aw.
adorable.
And I'm a mom.
Yeah. My name is Nikita Shelton. It's like now. I'm Nikita. I am a mom of 3. I am a wife. I've been with my husband for almost 20 years, married almost 13 years. I'm an author, blogger, and like Tisa, I love to just share my experiences about just life, how I'm growing, the things I need to work on, how I'm healing, and the stressful life of being a whole mom of 3.
Hmm.
Hello? So, yeah, that's a little bit about me. Hey, y'all. Skylar, take it away, girl.
So I wanted to get back into just the single portion of it. Like Nikita
Yeah.
is the expert as far as like being in a long-term relationship.
Let me interrupt. So I don't think there's any expert to this. I think that
Experienced.
I'm a little bit experienced, but it's still a lot of growth and a lot of things that I can learn from y'all in my own relationships. So
Well,
we're all in this
okay.
together.
Okay. All right.
We're all in this
Okay.
together.
How long you been married again? How long you see?
13 years in
13.
October.
And you and Steve been
20
together
years.
20 years.
That's a very long time. That is a lot of
It's 2 decades.
that's a lot of change, a lot
Mhm.
of different things, and the times have changed. So
And y'all got together as children, really, right? Because your
Okay.
college and your, what you want and what you desire at
Yeah.
2021
Yeah.
is not what you desire and
Lord.
what you like at 30.
Okay. And like we talked about last time, it's like you don't at 18, 19, you don't know yourself.
Mhm.
So at like
Facts.
30, it's like, dang, I'm a whole different person. So you really have to be intentional about, reintroducing yourself to your spouse, because if you're still living in, those old times, it just doesn't work. It
Yep.
doesn't evolve, right?
Yep.
So it's a special process full of ups and downs.
So I think for a lot of people there's like mixed feelings about it, right? Like there's the group of people who were in relationships, they didn't work out, now they're single parents. And this is not just for single moms. Like there are guys who have full custody of their children. They're figuring that out every day, and the dating scene is very difficult. A lot of people, especially now, like the millennials that don't have children, are very harsh on people that do have children. I read a lot of comments on like posts of like like the Black love pages and like the mommy pages and whatever. Like the comments are like cringeworthy sometimes, right? Especially of like the single women who don't understand what it's like to have a child with somebody, and like
Yeah.
like perfect example, the other day somebody posted what did it say? It was like, oh, child support is not for a present father. And I was like, why y'all keep speaking on stuff you don't know about? Like, don't speak on that because you don't know about it. Child support is for anybody that got a kid. The end.
Did they mean present as in he is in the child's life and takes care of his responsibilities?
Present can mean a whole lot of different things. That's why I feel like it's a subject that if you're going to speak on it, you need to speak clearly on it or be
Because
quiet.
does present mean that present, if you guys are together, does that mean like he paying child support if you guys are together? Because I think it's not called child support.
And you can be a present and be a whole bum.
But you could be present and still not help with
Yeah, you
anything.
could be a
Like kids
whole
are
bum.
not free.
But I don't think it's considered child support if you're present and we're together. You're in my kid's life. It's just what you should be doing. It's not child support. It's like this is your role.
Well, a lot of those posts come from women who are single who are dating men who have children, right? Because it's hard to understand like why you can't do something because he needs to pay for X, Y, and Z. Like it's a thing.
Ooh.
It's a thing, right?
Mm.
So it's like I'm saying, like on the single side, it's very hard to get back in the dating world because you have all of these
Baggage.
It's like
Somebody
baggage,
else
right?
would
And
consider
somebody
baggage.
else who might have a feeling about whatever. Then you gotta like vet people out because you have a kid and you don't want to bring all these people around, like we talked about before. So it's like, what does that even look like now? Like, and then now,
Exactly.
like dating, even if you don't have kids, is crazy.
But that's why we're talking about standards last time we were talking, because like, do you go into a situation like meeting a guy who has kids? Like, do you just wipe out all of your standards because you know if you want to be with this person, you have to like alter,
I'm not getting rid of my
everything
standards.
based off of, oh, he has a child, so I have to be, I have to be understanding of the baby mama. I got to be understanding of what it comes with. I got to be understanding of he's not going to be able to give me all of my time, all of his time because he has kids. Like, how do you maneuver through that when you desperately want to meet somebody? You desperately want to be in a relationship. You're looking for a husband. Like, I was asking y'all last time, like, where's your juggle? Like, how do you?
I will tell you the first thing to your point. I will never date a man that doesn't have children ever. I
Oh,
will
that's
never
interesting.
date a man that doesn't
Tell
have
us
children
why.
because I tried once, and a person that doesn't have children does not understand all the maneuvering and sacrificing that comes along with having kids.
Tisa,
right?
you cannot say you would not date a person that.
I'm not going to. Yes, I can.
But
I'm not going to do it.
what if this man comes
Okay.
in there and
All
sweeps
right.
you off your feet? Has been God like say, here you go, like he's everything.
You're right. I'm gonna rephrase that.
Come on
I'm
now.
gonna rephrase that. Thank you for checking me. Thank
Girl.
you. No, I appreciate that.
No.
I appreciate that. I would prefer to date a man with children because my hope is that he will understand all that comes along with being a parent, right?
Yeah.
You got to make
That's
sacrifices.
important.
I'm gonna have to cancel dates sometimes, right? You need to understand, or I would hope that he would understand.
My kids are going to get sick.
Yes, the and the ups and downs that comes along with co-parenting too, right? That's a whole nother topic about dating, right? And someone else that you're dating having kids and being okay with their baby mother or baby father. That's a whole nother
Right.
conversation. So if I can find a man that doesn't have kids that can understand all of that, then and he can sweep me off my feet.
Okay.
Then
maybe I stretch it because that's a little bit of perfection. Like,
Look,
I
think that's going back to your romanticizing comment.
Okay, right.
episode.
Okay.
Romanticizing what you think it should be because realistically, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard dating somebody. So I can speak on it from both perspectives. Before I had my daughter, when I was dating her father, he already had a child. So I was in it on that end.
Yeah.
And then we had a child. So then now I understand what it's like on this end. You get what I'm saying? So it's hard either way because you have to be understanding on holidays where you may not get to see them on a holiday, especially if they don't live in the same place as the child. Right. So now you're somewhere else. Or you may have to be understanding on while y'all are on vacation and you trying to do your vacation, you getting the phone call because the kid did X, Y, and Z. And now the trip is ruined because you got to spend an hour because he got to get on the phone. He got to do a FaceTime. He got to do, you know what I mean? So it is a challenge. And if you are not in a space, like in a mature space, and you're not secure in your relationship or he hasn't made you feel secure in a relationship, that's where the problems start to come in, right?
Facts. Good point.
I feel like it's very hard when a man is dating someone and he hasn't secured her spot. And that's usually when women and baby mothers have issues, is when there is a person that is dealing with somebody and they do not feel like they are secure. Because if you secure in your spot, I should never ruffle your feathers on any day. Ever.
I think that's very important. I think that should be, the tone should be already set.
Right.
From the beginning. But do we, like, again, I always say, well, do we work with a person? Like, is that like a deal breaker?
That's a deal breaker. So for me personally,
because he gonna have to deal with her. Like, like things are gonna come. But is it a deal breaker where, you're not feeling like would you consider yourself number one? Like, what position?
Definitely not number
one. What
one.
position do you want to be in in these types of situations? Like, what's the okay position?
I'm not even sure that at this, for our age group in this stage in life, you should even be trying to have a position like a number wise, right?
Okay.
Because if you're with a man that's a stand-up guy, you already know you're not gonna come before his kid, right?
Facts.
To a certain extent. So I'm not sure why you would even want to, or you would even need him to tell you you're number one.
I was
Like,
talking
why do
about
you
more with
need that?
the baby mother, the like that part of it.
So I'm dating a man with a baby mom.
Right.
Even still, you still don't need, he should make you feel where you don't need somebody to verbally say you're this and you're that. It should be a clear understanding. If he has boundaries set up, and that's the thing, if you walked into a situation where he didn't already have boundaries with his baby mother, you can voice your concerns, and then it's up to him to set the standard. If he's not willing to set the standard and it doesn't meet your requirement, then that's your opportunity to remove yourself from the situation. But to actually cause problems is where most people go wrong, because you're trying to force something that he is not ready to do.
Preach.
I'm gonna tell you one of the things that I look out for. And me and my friend had a conversation about
red
this
flags.
Day.
What are your red flags?
No, I was just about to say this. If I meet a man and he speaks ill of his baby mother, it's a red flag for me. I'm gonna look at him sideways and maybe not call him back. Yeah, like, to me, it speaks volumes of a man when he holds his child's mother in high regard, meaning, well, I'm going to say he respects her, right? He doesn't speak ill of her and call her out her name and put her down to me.
Yeah, that's a
if he's speaking with love about her, right? We all have faults, and everybody has issues, right? But it shows his maturity to me. It shows his understanding, and it also, to me, shows his level of respect. I think I have been on the flip side of, I've been in a lot of situations with men where they have spoken ill of their baby mother, and majority of the time when they do that, it's a very toxic co-parenting situation, right? I've also been on the side of being spoken ill of, right, by my child's parents to their significant other, and it caused a very toxic situation with me and her. And she came into the situation not ever meeting me, but already prejudging me. And it was based off of his unhealed stuff about the relationship and about me. It had absolutely nothing to do with me and my parenting and how good of a parent I was. It had everything to do with his own unhealed crap that he wasn't willing to deal with. So I think about that when I'm meeting men and they're speaking ill of exes and their children's mothers. Like, you still got some healing to do. If that's how you speak of her, one, you have a lack of respect to me, and two, you still got some healing to do. If you're not neutral, and if you haven't gotten to a place where we all get bothered, but if you haven't gotten to a space where you can stay grounded despite her behavior and what she does, that means I'm gonna have to deal with a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm really that's a lot to ask of me. Honestly, if I'm just being honest.
And I know we talked a lot about, what Skylar was talking a lot about, like, when do you introduce like the person you're dating to your kids? Like, what is that timeline again? I can't remember what we said, but what's the time?
For me, it was a solid year, because I feel like people could put on a front for a good up to a year, and then that's when you start to see, like, if that was like the honeymoon phase, or if that was like the I'm trying to win you over, etc. Like I said before, I'm not in the business of my child being able to run off like, Mom, remember you dated Mr. So and so, and remember when Mr. Doom Doom, like, no. Like, I've been in situations where, like, I've met people's moms and, like, met 3 dudes that she was dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, damn. Now, one day he crazy.
My mom had a revolving door.
See, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't have it in them for that not to impact how they deal with their own stuff as an adult, right? If they grew up in those scenarios. So, yeah, I don't want my child thinking like that's how it's supposed to be, because it's not. It's not supposed to be like
Mine's 6 months now.
I feel like just this topic, or like dating in general, it just feels like so much work. Like this seems like a whole nother job. Like keeping
It
like
is,
like dating within
girl.
marriage, like it's I think it's easier for us because I'm like, we're not going anywhere. So, we have to find different ways to love each other. We have to find different ways to make each other feel loved. So we're kind of stuck with each other. So we have to make it work. But for y'all, it's just like this is a whole nother job. Like I don't even
But
know.
isn't it the same in marriage though? To say that, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm thinking of you saying it's a whole nother job, I feel what it brings up for me is I'm thinking of me having to make space for somebody else in my life, consider them, right?
Yeah.
Work through issues, them triggering me, planning dates, like all the things that come along with dating someone, just making space for them in your life. You have to do that when you're married.
Yeah.
Right?
And in a marriage, it's easier to run. Like it's easier to be like, you know
How?
what?
Okay.
You know what? I'm not doing this. Like, okay, it's not working. We've been together for a long time, whatever. So it's easier to kind of like, give up and kind of lean on the fact that we're in this or whatever. So it's easier to like kind of run. Like when you're single, I don't know.
Would
Like
you
I
say
can't
that
explain it.
would you say that you lose it's easy to lose intentionality when you're married?
Yeah, well, it's easier to get comfortable.
Yeah, okay.
Like if you're single, like you're constantly trying to like better yourself. You're constantly trying to like, okay, see what I can change. Why am I not, attracting these people? Why is it not working? All that kind of stuff. When you're married, it's just like, okay, like
You're gonna deal with it.
we just gonna ride this till the wheels, fall off. And we tried, didn't work. Like, you gotta move on. So it's just it's easier to like get away with, but y'all feel like you just constantly have to continue to better yourself and continue to go out there and try and to continue to work up the nerve and the courage. Like, oh, again, I gotta try this person. Like, what?
That is
Like,
exhausting.
what is it?
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're like on a date. Like, I can imagine myself being single and going on a date and then, meeting somebody and really feeling that person and it works, and then the feeling is not mutual.
Girl.
What? My feelings would be so hurt. I was like,
They do
I
be
am
hurt.
done with this. Like, you mean to tell me that I wasn't amazing?
Listen.
But the vibe was good. Like, what is going on? And for them not to like call me back or have any, I would just be like, you know what? I would like convince myself of all the ways that being single and living, being alone is okay.
So let me funny story. So I was in
Like, you know what? It's okay.
I was single for a super long time, right after Jaden's dad. And then I got into a relationship with my ex, and the relationship was great, but it was super short term, like 6 months. And it's been it's been a year and a half since we broke up. And I'm at that point, right? Like I'm because I'm the type of person that when I meet someone and I really like that, I'm really feeling them, like you get my all. Like, well, not everything that I have, but I'm putting so much because I'm so cautious and intentional about who I decide to hold space for and have in my life.
Hard.
I love hard. And when it's time for me to let go and move on, it's like that whole process is exhausting, and it makes you want to be like, yeah, I'm just not gonna do this. Like,
but it's mentally draining. Like you're constantly questioning yourself. Like, what am I not bringing? Like, why am I not? Well, I'm not speaking for y'all, but I would. It would make me like, what am I not doing? Like, why am I not enough? And things like that. But I guess as you evolve and as you start to date more, that begins to change. But initially, it's like, bro.
I think it depends on what caused the breakup, right? I think that determines whether or not you have questions for yourself, right? At least for me, right? I think when my relationship didn't work out, there were a lot of times where I was like, dang, like you said, like, is it me? Like, where did it go wrong? Especially since I'm a talker, and I feel like if you never said
that part,
something was wrong, I'm not understanding where we're having an issue, right?
Can we get the do do do?
Like, no, like for real. No. Okay, so like seriously, like so if you, because I'm like a logical thinker, so I need somebody to explain to me.
Yeah,
I have to understand it, even if the outcome is not going to change. I have to understand it. Like I need to know why all of a sudden is no longer working out, or why you decided that you needed to be with two people and ride that out till the wheels fell off until one person was like, all right, I'm tapping out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Like I've had people tell me in the past, like, if I could merge you and her into one person, it would have been the perfect person.
What?
Dead ass.
Men,
See,
Don't say no shit
that's how
like
we're
that.
different. I don't need to understand.
What the
I'm
hell?
gonna match your energy, and I'm just gonna give you what you're giving me at this point. Because you know what? No, you're not gonna tell me if
That's such an
I
immature
had to be a
statement.
blend of somebody else. Girl, see, this is why I'm not cut out for this life.
It gets real, like especially if you're dealing with somebody who hasn't determined what they even want out of a situation, which is why they're always looking and searching. And it doesn't matter who it is, like nobody's ever gonna be right. So it took me a long time to learn that about people.
I think when someone makes a comment like that, I think they are coming in with an expectation of what they already want.
Absolutely.
They're not coming in trying to like give you a chance or get to know you or even try to like, okay, well maybe I can love this person. Like, that's just, I don't know, that's just expectation. And I feel like that's why a lot of relationships fail. Is because we go into it like, okay, I want this type of person or I want that type of person. So we never even give it a chance to work.
But the thing about it is, I think that people need to be realistic about if you have certain expectations, you better match the expectation. Because I feel like a lot of people have expectations that they do not match.
Yep.
You cannot require something of somebody that you can't produce yourself. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like you can't want this, want that, and you look like you smoke every day, you drink every day, but she got to be a bad bitch. And
but do you think
know
people?
What I'm saying? Like,
do you
it's
think
crazy.
people do that? Dang, I lost my train. Do you think people do that because, or they seek what is missing in their lives?
Yes,
they seek what they need to feel
Absolutely.
whole. But I don't think that's fair.
That's
like you should do the work to feel whole on your own.
Well, I think that's the thing, and then I think now, like I said before, with social media and with everything being like publicized, and it's a look thing. Like especially if it came down to like a superficial thing or like aesthetics and stuff like that, it's always about what it looks like versus what it really is. Everybody has like wants to live in like this fantasy world of like I have the perfect situation and you don't.
I needed to look like this.
I needed to look like X, Y, and Z. I needed to look like we probably on a work trip and they can't like, no, y'all, you just happen to go because he got the free room and his job is paying for it.
I would love for people to stop and ask themselves, like when that really is a desire of yours, or even expectations, because we all have them, right? Let's question those. Like, why does it need to look like that? Where does that come from? Can you do some soul searching, please? Like, why does it need to look like that? Why is that an expectation?
Like, can we go beyond a little bit? Like, nobody's thinking deep, these days. Everybody, like, I genuinely like go through my timeline every single day and just seeing like, people I know, people I don't know, people I know from the internet, like literally depressed and just building this life of I'm just going to do it on my own. I'm going to travel and do whatever just because the dating scene or because everything is just so trash. And I hate how all the women are giving up on, love and finding somebody. Like, it's really sad. That's why I asked her the last time, like, what is it?
It's the ratio.
Like she said last time.
We are significantly outnumbering men. Yeah. I hate to keep bringing this man up, God rest his soul, but like, he even said it's 1 million more women than men. So it's 1 million of us that either going to be sister wives or we're not getting anything.
Do you feel like the moment you stop looking and the moment that as soon as you start focusing on yourself or just doing whatever, like,
no, people say that all the time. And I've been focused on myself and I was not interested in dating.
He didn't pop up yet.
No, like it was what I got to go kiss the tadpole because like
do they doing
where the frog at? Because I promise you, I wasn't even thinking about dating like a year ago, even 2 years ago. But now I'm like, okay, we on year 4.
Yeah.
So what does it look like? So when you find somebody or you meet somebody or you think like, okay, this is a potential. Like, what is your first move? Like, what do you do?
I don't have a first move. That's why this conversation is so good. So here's the thing, right? Remember how I said our parents didn't teach? I don't think I ever really knew how to date.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever knew how to date. And I don't even know that I know how to date now. I know how to be somebody's super girlfriend / fake ass wife. Because that's what I've always done in every relationship. That's why I know for a fact I went wrong.
I think I
was playing wifey all the time.
So yeah, it does. I have a question. Has a man tried to talk to you in the past 4 years?
Okay, so I play the lottery every week.
Give me $1 if you want.
How much have you won?
Okay,
I've won 500 off a scratch off, but that's neither here nor there.
That's taking. I can't get $1 off that.
Well, I mean, 500 off a scratch off is pretty good for like.
No, I'm saying I won't ask you for $1 off 500 because that's the daycare bill.
Okay, I mean, yeah, you can't borrow,
Me too.
Anyway, damn it, shit. I would go like after I get the kid down, whatever. So it's like 8:30. Ain't nobody at the gas station at 8:30, but the niggas buying the roll-ups and you know what I mean? I'm like, what is it
Not the
on me
backwoods.
what aura am I giving off that made you feel like you can even holler at me? Do I look like a bitch you can holler at?
But that is not.
No, that's real though.
That's a real
That's
thing.
a real
But
thing.
what am I giving off? Why?
That's a real
Is that a
thing.
you problem though?
Maybe.
Is it?
I don't think
I don't know.
Sometimes. Okay.
I don't know.
Sometimes. I also think, though, if I'm being completely honest, one of my philosophies, though, is that the men out here that aren't necessarily like, they probably should just go home and do some inner work, right? Like they probably, I don't know, like they probably should do, I don't know. They're either right, they either have wives, girlfriends, or they just don't need to be dating. Those are the men with super confidence out here hollering at everything walking, right? A lot of men who are actually like eligible bachelors, right? Like they're single, they're taking care of themselves, what they expect they can offer. A lot of them aren't out here trying to holler at females.
Nope.
They're not.
And they definitely don't want to holler at females that have a child. So my car seat is a dead giveaway every time.
I'm still stuck on the what am I giving off? Like, so when, like, what is, like, how do you, when you go home, you're like, okay, let me soul search.
Okay, so the last time a man hollered at me, it was a married man. And he asked me why I didn't want to holler at him. He said, it's
okay,
something
I thought
about
you were saying based off his looks, not off.
No, I'm not talking about looks. I'm talking about what about me made you feel like that was something I was even going to be willing to do.
They don't care.
You get what I'm saying? And then sometimes it is the dude that, he looked like he came from the surf and turf hotel where they had the bombers staying.
What would it be about you though? Like, what would
they don't care if they hollering at anything walking with legs?
I don't know. I
just feel like there used to be a time where a man knew what he was capable at pulling. I think, and that I wouldn't even have been a person that he would have tried.
But those love stories that happen like that. They're like, I was, at a gas station when I met my wife. She thought I was trash, and then they had this like amazing love story. Like you wouldn't give those people a chance because you're just like, what am I out here attracting?
Honestly, I'm not giving nobody. This is probably why I'm single, but I'm serious about I don't care. I need to make some type of genuine connection before
an initial
connection. Before I give you my number. Anybody that has my number will tell you this. If you walk up to me and ask me for my number, you're not getting it.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Like, what is that?
Because I'm not about to waste because I don't like to reject people, right? Like I don't like to get to know somebody and then be like, you ain't it.
So what does it look like? So I'm gonna do like, hey, like you're pretty. Like,
I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. I'm married.
But look, I'm so afraid now of like doing the I have a boyfriend. I get because like now these dudes are crazy. Like they shooting bitches and they killing them because they don't want to talk to them.
What is your ideal approach? Like, what does it look like?
Okay, so my ideal approach. Husband,
husband,
if you're out there,
don't walk me in.
Listen and find me where I be at, and then do this, and then ask me for my number. Okay, I'm waiting on you. Hurry up.
Now he just gonna do it because you told me.
It's fine. Maybe that's the only way we'll meet. But my ideal approach is that we, in some type of form, I will not online anymore, ever doing that again. But in person, right? We are together in some type of atmosphere and we've had a chance to mingle. We've had a chance to have a conversation. We've had a chance to feel each other's vibe and energy. Like after that, and we've had an initial conversation, then you will, if it's there, you will likely, we can exchange numbers. But you just walking up to me at the grocery store, be like, hey, I think you're pretty. Can I? No. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you.
That could be a husband.
He could be. God has got to change. God
probably like, look, girl, I had one in the grocery store. I didn't have one outside the gas station. I didn't have one. And you just over here like, no.
But God know me though. Also, he made me like that. He made me.
But he might be putting you outside your comfort zone and you just missing the mark.
But I don't like, I hate being like, You're not it.
Like,
Right?
Do you just say
Because I don't ghost people.
I mean, but
don't
how do
believe
you
in
say
ghosting.
it?
I am a
How do you
ghoster.
say it? Because okay, so I went on a girl trip recently, and I had to tell my homegirl like, you could like say it differently.
Oh, I'm not about to hurt nobody's feelings.
Okay.
I probably would be like this.
I'm not even ready for this foolishness to come out of her mouth. I'm not ready because it's probably shots fired.
No, I'm gonna pretty. I'm probably gonna pretty it up. Probably pretty it up.
But can you even really pretty it up?
I'm probably gonna be like,
it's gonna make it work harder.
It's not you, it's me.
Now, see, that's the number one complaint that we have.
God.
We always telling them, don't tell me it's not you, it's me, because that's the number one lie. Like this, the overused situation.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But why not just tell them what it is that is not working? So at least they have closure, right? Right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants closure in situations and it doesn't work out. So why leave them hanging like, oh, it's not you, it's me. Maybe it's like, hey, I actually need this, or my love language is that, and
I would have a deep
it's not working, and I'm not open to.
I feel like in marriage you do the same thing. Like you have, a deep conversation. Like, these are the things that make me happy. These are the things,
But like you're invested. So like in a dating situation, why would I do that?
If I was single, I would just be honest and upfront with that person. Like, these are the things I'm looking for. These are the qualities. Like, we just don't, match.
I wish dudes were on here to get in the comments, because I really want to know what it is that you feel like we missed.
Are there any guys?
Do we miss the mark?
Are you on YouTube?
Do we miss the mark? Like, I was looking at a clip of Iman Shumpert's podcast. Somebody had posted a clip from his podcast, and he was like, we do not want y'all to pay for stuff. If you dealing with a dude that has money, we don't want y'all to pay for stuff. But like, there's so many arguments on like social media about, oh, she need to pay half, she need to do this, she need to do that.
Somebody said, be open, smile, and make eye contact.
Who said that?
If y'all all grumpy, nobody is going to approach y'all.
I had a friend tell me that years ago. Years ago, bitter. He told me, Tisa, you need to smile more. You look unapproachable. So ever since he told me that, I'll be walking outside like,
they was like, be straight up.
I don't even see that comment. All I see is somebody talking about, do you really know what you're saying?
Are you lying, Keita?
No, I'm
it's really okay.
Somebody talking about, do you really know what you're saying?
I'm like, yes, be straight up.
I smile all the time, and
I be like, no,
dudes still don't approach me.
I know I look mean. People say it all the time.
Absolutely, yes.
And I'm really working on my facials. I am.
You look like, don't come fucking talk to me. Like, don't even. Ooh. Why are you? Don't come over here.
But it's not that. And then when people get to know me, I'm like fun as fuck.
I know.
I even watch football.
That's how we met at high school.
And I understand the game. You feel me? I understand.
You did seem a little.
I'm not gonna be at the game like, so babe, what's that? Nah, I'm gonna be at the game like, what are you doing?
That football thing or that sports thing is a trigger for me. Like,
I love sports, but I'm not watching baseball. If you like baseball, just
but even talking to some of my single friends that are like seeking, I hate how they force themselves, or that has to be a requirement to like understand every sports thing or understand.
Oh no, I've always been into sports.
No, my thing is, if I'm uneducated, then let me know. Like, I'm not going to be out here faking just to try to get
I grew up in the house with boys.
Get your buy-in on sports. Like, that gets under my skin when a single person, over tries with the whole sports thing. I'm like, girl,
just be yourself. Just be yourself.
No, I definitely like football. Yeah. So much so that I'm willing to say I'm a Giants fan. And anybody knows about football, that fucking sucks. It's been hard to be a Giants fan.
I said a new football player, so I'm a football mom. I know a little bit.
So but seriously, I like football, I like basketball. I don't particularly care for baseball. I only watch hockey if they fighting. Like, I'm just want to see the fight clip.
But that is not a requirement for a guy to.
No, it's not a requirement. I'm just saying that it's something like. But I can't play the game at all.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me just get in these comments because hold that. It's good dudes out here that ain't been single in a long time and trying to figure out how to approach women too.
I just told you
it's a different world now.
It is a different world now, and
somebody said F sports. Don't try to like everything we like. It comes off as fake. That
is not fake. I like sports. Like, why I need to fucking lie about that? I like sports, and I also like arts and shit too. So like, I want to go to the game, and then I want you to take me to the Met too because I did ballet. But
some women are out here doing.
Well, they are out here doing that, but that ain't me. This is my podcast.
I'm gonna ask you that ain't me. What was that move? Because I don't. What happened? What happened? Can you teach me? If you can't teach me, then leave me alone. too, because I'm confident in things I know and I'm confident in the things that I don't know. And if you can't be comfortable with that, then I don't want to talk to you. I can't be single because I just can't. Because let me just stick with that. Because this life is not good for me.
It's ghetto. It's ghetto out here in these streets.
I'll be.
It's ghetto.
I
It's
can't.
giving. It's giving.
I ain't gonna lie. It's okay.
It's
There's
ghetto.
dudes out here that've been single for a long time.
Who is that? What's his name?
I don't know, but this is giving like the men are like we're going to
read his name so I know if we talk.
Okay, we need to add him to the live then.
Beasky.
Who's Beasky?
404.
Okay, add him to the live. Beasky.
Oh, I do talk.
It's not just y'all women, it's us too. Like
I don't think we live in the same state though. But what was I about to say?
I don't know.
Oh, singleness. Oh, okay. Real quick though. On the other side of being single too long is getting out of a long-term relationship and finding yourself. When I was intentionally single, when Jaden's dad left, best years of my life. I was so in love with my life that I was like, God himself is going to have to come down from heaven and tell me, Tisa, give this man your number. Yeah. I'm almost getting back there. So God, don't let me get that far again. But like seriously, I was that in love with my singleness. And it was 6 years. We talking about 6 years without. But no, that's a lie. That's not true. That wasn't 6 years. But but being single, like I literally, because I was so used to being in a relationship.
Thank you, Hellcat. Thank you, Rio in the Hellcat.
He said all that we really care about when it comes to sports is that you're comfortable with us having time with our fellas to watch sports uninterrupted. If you like sports, that's a bonus, but not a requirement. Amen. Because we can't be together if it's a requirement.
Can we talk about individuality in relationships?
I want to talk about that. What you were just saying just
to his point.
So I was saying, like, even in marriage, like as you discover like who you really are, it is hard to kind of get back, like when your spouse is like okay with who they are, and they're not, they're just being them, but you're like evolving and growing. It's kind of hard to like, get back in the swing of things when you found this like new love, for yourself. It's sometimes it gets hard to incorporate your spouse in that because it feels so good. It's like, okay, you're not gonna get it. Like you're not gonna understand, like you know what I'm saying. Like it's difficult.
But that goes to her point, individuality in relationships. Like I feel like people that are still in the dating stage and haven't committed to like long term, that is like the number one argument of like, why can't he go out with his friends and you be cool? Like, okay, it's 3 o'clock. So
I think that's learned. I think that's learned in the marriage because you like when you're in the beginning, you're just like, okay, it's just me and you. Like for me, I feel like you're building this brand around your marriage, it's just this or that. And then when you discover yourself, it's like, well, I'm gonna go over here and do this, and it's okay that we're not like-minded. It's okay that we're not, on the same page. And I feel like sometimes in marriages, you feel like pressured or, challenged to rise up to the level that your spouse is growing at. And I feel like I don't feel like that's a requirement. I feel like you can still be who you are, and I can still be who I am.
Absolutely,
and still, come.
You absolutely can. And the other problem is that some people get into relationships because they're looking for somebody to fill a void, and normally that turns into like a codependent situation. So when you get in a codependent situation, then now you have this person that always needs whatever that thing is.
But you don't know that.
Of
in
course,
the beginning,
you
don't know that at 18. Like when you get 30, it's just
them flags.
You went at 18, you feel like it's
red
like
flags is a whole nother episode.
Like for so long I felt like okay, I needed Steve or my partner to be creative. Like I needed to run everything by him. I needed him to give me this energy. I needed
where do you think that came from?
Well, like Steve's my first relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know what any of this was about. I wasn't like dating in high school. I didn't know what that looked like. And I don't feel like I all the way had the confidence to, think that I could do it, or I could like, just lean on myself, or I could have this type of power. So it's just easier to just be like, oh, I could just fall back on myself.
So it was something that you felt like you lacked that you wanted him to.
So now that his newfound strength, I'm like, oh, I'm this. Okay. So it's just like hard to, incorporate that. And then your spouse sees you changing, and evolving. So I think it's the same kind of struggle with, being single and being married and evolving and changing and trying to incorporate everything. So it's a lot.
How do y'all manage that in marriage? Do y'all have more conversations? Do you guys talk about like, oh, I'm feeling this makes me feel a certain type of way. I'm feeling insecure because of this, or I see you doing this and it makes me feel this way. Like, do y'all have those conversations?
We do. I think sometimes it can almost be an intimidation. Like when your
Yeah.
spouse is growing, at a pace, and it's like, oh, we're not doing this together. Because when you're used to doing everything together, raising your kids together, like it's just me and you. It's just like it becomes like, oh, I don't even know how to even approach this. Like I don't even know what to do. So you have to have those types of conversations, but it's really, you have to walk on eggshells. It's tricky. So I think married and single and dating and keeping all of these things together is a lot.
Yeah.
And then you throw them kids in there.
Okay.
Right.
And then it becomes even more.
When you throw those kids in there,
difficult.
that's a mask though. Kind of throwing the kids in there can just like, you don't have to focus on all the
other stuff.
Yeah, because you have to be parent to these kids, and that's a lot. That takes up a lot of your time.
Right, which is why it's so hard for like if you're not with your children's other parent, it's very difficult to date. Yeah. Even just as simple as finding the time to go out and put yourself in a situation where you could meet somebody, right? Like, how often do you get that opportunity if you're a single parent, especially depending on the age of your child? If your child is like under 10 or under 14, you're not leaving them at home. You gotta schedule the sitter. You gotta find somebody that want to watch them.
But I think that's a mistake too. I'm like, y'all can't be just waiting until y'all kids are like self-efficient to like put yourself out there. It's too late at that point. Like you tired.
Well,
like,
damn.
Well, you have to use.
Damn.
I'm just saying, like you have to. I feel like a lot of people, and I love being a mom. No, this is my opinion, but a lot of moms. Like you put yourself in this box. Like I have to be dedicated to my kid. And I talked about that last time. I have to be dedicated to my kid 110%. So I feel like you do yourself a disservice when you don't take that time for you, or you don't.
That's hard.
You don't like cut those ties. I was like, your kid is going to college and going to be living their life, and you just going to be sitting here.
I think about that 70 all the time.
With you and you.
Damn, 70.
Daniel used to say.
I mean, she going in on us.
With you and you.
Daniel used to be like, "Mom, I want you to be married before I go off to college," and I'm like, "Why? Like, you make it sound like my life is not great."
Well, we have a year.
Daniel do. We should get him on here one time. I don't know if he would talk, but he be giving it to me. And I was like, "Why? Like, I'm fine. I'm all right. Like, I like my life. Like, why do I need to be married?"
We only have a year till he graduates. So what are we gonna do?
You say what?
We only got a year.
This is senior
couple
year.
months.
Okay.
Not even a full year before he graduates. That's hard though. So like I know for me, one of the things that I'm working on, right? I'm not gonna say there's nothing more important than being a good mom, but because of my past childhood trauma,
that's different.
Being a good mother is up there, like real up there. Like it's something that, you know what I mean? Like I live for and I think about all the time. I think it's probably one of the areas that I'm most self-critical about is me as a mother. So I often have to work through a lot of guilt in a lot of areas as a mother.
That mommy guilt.
Yeah. So honestly, like dating and men do fall for me because I'm not married. They kind of do fall.
Can you do both?
Underneath. I mean, you can. Yes. And
absolutely.
I'm working on it.
Okay. I'm just like
you can do both. It's just
I will go out on a date. Somebody call me. I mean, not anybody, but
no. Look, you already know how to approach her. Make sure y'all mingling and have a conversation. Don't ask for her number.
Make me laugh. All of that. Yeah.
I'm not putting anything out here.
See what I'm saying?
Okay. What about we could do online dating, like Match.com.
What?
Why are you hating on Match?
I don't hate
know
on
people who
online
got
dating,
married
it's just
because
like,
they dated on Match.
Sometimes it just be full of lies. So like, how do you know?
So does meeting somebody out in person. They can still be full of shit. All of my last relationships were people I have met in person.
At least you have receipts to compare. Like this is not what you said in the chat. That when we talking.
But why? But like, why do I need to screenshot you what you said? You know what you said.
Be who you say you're gonna be.
Here's the thing I like about Match.com: paid subscription, not the free one. I don't know if they have a free version, but the paid subscription. This is what I like about it. And I'm not talking about Plenty of Fish and all those hookup websites, but particularly Match.com. I know your intentions most of the time. Yes, there are people who are online to just hook up. Right? That's the thing. But if you're paying for a subscription and you're going and filling out the questionnaire and all the other stuff, I could hope that you're more likely to have the same intentionality as me
Right.
in terms of wanting something serious, right? And you're online, like you're not really losing that much, but a little bit of your time getting to know somebody
Mhm.
online,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
you're already filling out questionnaires, so you're like the system's already matching you and all this other stuff. I don't know how it works, but I think it works like that. Like it almost gives you a step up versus just meeting somebody in person.
Exactly.
So how long do you have to so how long y'all gotta text each other to meet up in person?
Oh, that's a good question.
like what is it, like 6 months? No, is it like a few weeks?
No, I would probably say like a couple of weeks. And I mean, now like with FaceTime, you can make sure you're not getting catfish. It's very different.
Oh,
now,
that's
I'm
true.
right?
not FaceTiming.
Why?
No, I'ma need you to
like I
FaceTime
want to
me to make sure
FaceTime
you
because
didn't
I
put
want
up
to
a
make sure you
fake
are who
picture.
you are. I do not want
Facts.
what's his name, Nev.
Nev.
I don't want
Mhm.
Nev. I don't want to be on there talking about Nev. I fell in love with this man.
And he'd be like, it's a woman.
And it's like it's your arch nemesis from high school trying to get back at your ass. Like
I just
no.
feel like it's like dating online is gonna go one of two ways. Okay, we're gonna like start chatting, and then I feel like when we meet up and have the conversation, like shit's just gonna go left. Like I feel like that's when they feel like they got you. You know what I'm saying? That's when they could just be throwing all of these things. And I'm like, you just wasted all of my time.
That girl, that is effing dating.
Oh my
okay. At any point in
Give me a
time,
headache.
somebody. First of all, can we just acknowledge that when you first meet somebody, the first 3 to 6 months, people are wearing masks. You don't know them. Whoever you think you know, you don't know them. Okay, so give
People
yourself
on TikTok,
6 months.
They fall in love in 6 months and get married. The next
You
day.
said on TikTok?
Yes.
On TikTok.
Yes, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you.
They got dating on TikTok.
No,
you know what's disrespectful? Facebook always talking about,
confident that it
hey,
can
Sky,
happen."
find somebody who mind your business. Facebook.
I can't do Facebook.
Meta.
I can't do
I
Facebook.
cannot
Mind
do
your
Facebook.
business.
I would do Match.com.
If somebody hits me on Facebook, if I were single, if someone's hit me up on Facebook and trying to date me, I cannot do that. Like,
I'm
first
not
of all,
dating.
why are you so
I don't
using
even
this
like
Facebook
Facebook.
platform? No.
You better pay for a subscription. Let me know you kind of serious.
Someone said it's tough to get out for too long. Oh, because he's saying that usually his kids are with him.
Why do you see
It's not
comments
a lot.
that I can't see?
Are you on Tisa's thing?
Yes.
Oh, girl, scroll.
It's not
You
giving
is
me
girl.
button.
Yeah, but
Whatever.
yeah, the first 3 to 6 months. So whether you meet them online or in person, you always run that risk. That's why, and I'm saying this. This is not my history, but it is my new evolved Tisa that I'm moving towards.
Why would she even say that?
Because
I'm like, it's her history.
She giving disclaimers.
Yeah, I'm just because I'm gonna keep it real. Part of my problem in dating is that I move too damn fast.
Me too.
I'm gonna keep it real.
Me too. I get in there.
I move too fast and married.
That's why I'm not trying to have sex.
Girl,
Because if you put it on me, baby, we go. What Carisha? What's her name? Carisha.
Like, what can I do for you?
We go together real bad. Like the end.
She like, so what us is? That's what she talking.
That's
so
true.
Us is?
No, like if you, man, what?
Don't involve.
Do
sex.
not put it down on me. You're my man.
What is
today?
What's a timeline? Okay, you met your little friend on Match. You met your little friend on Match.com. Okay, y'all done met up. Y'all done met up, had a little good conversation or whatever. You feeling it, even though you probably still lying and hiding stuff. Like
what, a whole bitch.
Okay. What is the like when do you sleep on him? Like when are you like trusting him
I
to
don't know.
Oh,
I
don't know if we should tell timelines because that might just be like, oh, she's very well.
I can't tell the timeline. It's been 4 years, so like listening to my timeline.
But what do they got to do
pointless.
to like get you there? Like oh, how do you know? Like, you know what? Or is it just like you horny, I'm horny, we about to just get it done?
No. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be too deep with this, but for me, I'm gonna be honest. I have sexual trauma, right? It's very important for a man to make me feel safe. Like I feel safe in his presence.
Me too.
If I don't feel safe in your presence, if I don't feel comfortable, there's no intimacy involved.
Trust for me is the trust. You have to trust.
Yeah. So there's a level of safeness and at ease and at peace I need to feel in his presence that has absolutely nothing to do with sex. In order for me to even consider it. Yeah. And then,
what's the consider? Is looks in there? So looks, conversation.
Of course, looks matter. I need to be turned on. Yeah.
Why do people?
Okay,
so like I'm so tired of people acting like looks don't matter. Most people that get with somebody and the looks aren't a thing is like they were friends or what did you?
I feel like I'm there.
It's an insecurity.
No, I think like I think that you can fall for somebody that you weren't initially attracted to, but it's like a backdoor approach. Like,
Yeah.
we became friends, then we started hanging, then I realized like, oh, like I really like you. Oh, dang, I kind of like want to be around you. Like,
That's kind of how like I want to date right now. I
feel
just want
like-
to
I
be
feel like
friends with
it's the
somebody,
approach
and
of just
then
like,
they
let
be
me-
like,
Let me take what I can get.
I like you.
yeah.
Let me take.
Like, what's wrong with that? Because then it's genuine and it's like
Yeah.
for real. Like, because like that's when somebody is your friend first, then you are like completely your real self. And I could
Yes.
say, I feel like I've honestly only had like maybe 1 or 2 experiences where like the person was truly my friend. You know what I mean? Which is why like even now, like we kind of are still okay because we were genuinely like we had a friendship. We cared about each other,
Yeah.
even though we might have done like stupid things based on like age and just experience or whatever. But like, yeah, like any other way, like if it was just like simply off of, oh, he look good, you know,
Mhm.
whatever. Like it's like, ooh,
If I had to do it again, like if I were like starting over, which I'm not. Like if this is it, like I'm just be saying, well, I'm not doing this. Okay,
a lot of people that's
lot of
married
people say
already
that.
I'm
say
not doing
that
that.
because they see like the struggle.
No, I'm not doing it. But if I had to start again, then I would want to, create a foundation on
Absolutely.
friendship. Like I would personally want to wait as long as possible to incorporate, that physical piece. I feel like
sex
when that
is a distraction.
when that physical piece comes
Absolutely.
in,
Sex
like
is a
nothing matters.
distraction.
Like the
Yep.
conversation matters no longer.
Absolutely.
Like we're no longer, trying to build on something. But I think that when you wait and you build that friendship and that foundation, then you always have something to come back to in your hard times. Like you always have something to lean on,
Yeah.
when you're going through it. But if you don't have that, if you're just leaning on sex, it's like,
Yeah.
we're gonna keep going around in
Keeps
circles.
you in
sex will
unhealthy
have
environment.
you-
Listen, I was just about to go there.
Sex will have you acting like you ain't see him out with another mother.
My friend, said, my
Right.
girlfriend
Like
said,
you can see it with your own eyes,
Yeah.
And you be
but
like,
you
I didn't just see what I
cannot
just saw.
get past that experience because especially if you do it too early on, like that's what your relationship is really based
exactly.
on.
She said they'll have
Facts.
you buying PlayStation 5. So that's
Right.
my friend said.
I wish I would. I wish a nigga would.
Like you buying shoes. Okay, you're buying.
I have
You're
bought
buying
shoes.
stuff.
And the old wives tell the truth. If you buy them shoes,
They gonna walk out?
be gone.
Walk out your life. Don't buy them
Yes.
shoes. They walk out your life.
Shoes.
But I think a
Hashtag
lot of
Black
women should
proverb.
go into it, and this is just my little opinion. I'm married. I have no idea what you guys are going through, and I'm very sensitive to that, and I feel for y'all. But I
Damn.
feel like we should all
I'm happy.
Shots fired.
we
again.
should.
She killing us. She
No,
emptying the
I
clip.
just think that if you focus on going into a situation to build a foundation and build a friendship, you have more luck because a lot of times, single women are going into it like, this is my timeline. I want to, get married by 6 months. I want to have gotten to know this about you so I can know that it ain't it or it is. But like that's just a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I understand like some women, like I have a friend who's like, no, like, there's nothing you can say about my timeline. Like if we're not, we're not talking about marriage or engagement in 6 months, then
6 months.
what are we here for? Some people
6
are like
months?
that. So I really had to like really understand that whole timeline thing. But I think that we just go into things, try to be friends or try to get to know a person. It'll be less
I used
stressful.
to be on the timeline. That's how I ended up being a single parent.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I have a timeline.
I had a
Timelines are
timeline before. Like I wanted to have a child before a certain age. I didn't want to be an old parent. I did like all of those things were in my mind. So I was definitely rushing the process. Like it was kind of like, oh, we go together. Now what's next? We moving in. You moving here. I'm moving there. Like
and then we rush those. We rush the men or we rush the partner into like feeling how we want them to feel instead of like giving us.
And if he's not 100% confident in who he is, he's going to go along with it. He's going to go along with it to keep the peace. Right?
But it all
even if he doesn't want to, like
I'd
much rather be like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like tell me, I'm not there yet. I need that because if you play along with me, then I'm like, I don't get it.
So what you're saying is y'all need a little bit of control. Y'all need somebody to like.
I need somebody to be clear about who they are.
No, I'm saying like you need someone to like. You need like
I need a man who
like,
stands on his own morals and stands on his own beliefs.
Yeah, I need a little assertiveness
in that. Yes. Right?
Yeah.
Like you can't be wavered. Like if you're not ready to get married, me complaining about not being married or engaged to you should not change your mind. Like you shouldn't be doing it to shut me up.
We know that Bible verse, right?
It should.
What is that?
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Give him the verse.
It's
What
in
chapter? Let me
James.
look.
Amen.
What is
It's in
James?
James.
Okay, James.
Look on my pages on it. Somewhere in there.
Yes.
No, but seriously, like I think that that's how a lot of people end up getting their heart broken.
Yeah.
Like not being okay with when he said it to you the first time and you didn't hear it, so then he just went along with it. But he had already told you. He told you. He told you. And if there's any dude on here right now, I bet you they can aim in that. We do tell y'all. They tell us.
Oh yeah.
We just don't want to
We
hear
hear
it.
what we want to
That
hear.
is,
We
that
hear
is
what
true
we
because
wanna
even
hear.
in, like in marriage, there's a lot of things that, or a lot of things or a lot of signs or whatever that you saw in the beginning that they were getting, but you were just so blinded into like making it work. So you kind of like, all right, I'm gonna just glance over that, and then we're just gonna like get into this. But then later on down the line, it's like, oh my god,
no, they are very simple and not
yeah.
all at the same time.
Because I'm like, were you serious? How was I supposed to believe you? Or you just
nah, you supposed to believe him.
Yeah.
I mean, people will tell you in words or actions. You just got to be paying attention for real.
Yeah.
Even if they not saying it, they moving like it.
Yes, Fred.
Love
Set
is
them
blind.
boundaries early. Whoever
Love
Fred
is
is.
blind.
Hey, Fred. Hey, Fred.
I do. I set my boundaries early.
Yes.
What is your boundaries, Fred?
Right.
Fred, what are your
Fred
boundaries?
To join the live.
Share with us. I've been trying to get him to join a live. He
the
won't.
boundaries.
But tell us what your boundaries
you don't
are,
know.
Fred.
You don't got your phone in here.
No, I mean we talk. Fred's my friend.
Oh,
and we talk.
Why
all
you
the
not
time.
joining the live?
He's behind the
Fred.
scenes.
No worries. Well, put it in the comments.
What is setting your boundaries early? Like, do you go to like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't do this? Like, is setting your boundaries like via a conversation?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about
like
what setting boundaries are for, right? Because a lot of people misuse them.
That part.
A lot of people misuse
that
them.
part.
Boundaries are not about control. They're not about trying to give somebody an ultimatum to do what you want them to do. Boundaries are created so that you make sure that you are safe, right? That's what boundaries are for. And that's what they should be used for.
I struggle with boundaries. Like, not even in relationship, in friendships, like everything. I just feel like, first of all, it's an overused word in 2022.
It is. Just like
everybody's talking
toxic.
about set your boundaries. But you're not telling us how. Like,
no,
it's a good
the
quote.
overused word is narcissist.
Yes, narcissist.
And I'm here to tell you, ladies, all of those guys were not narcissistic. You were not listening. You were ignoring red flags. That does not make him a narc. Yeah. That makes you ignorant to your own wants and needs and not having your own boundaries. Everybody is not a narc. Like, they have labeled every dude in America a narc, and that's just not true.
Give us an example of boundaries. Like, what is one of your boundaries? Like, if you were you and your Match.com man, y'all decided to make it official. How do you communicate what your boundaries are? How do you do that without being rude or hurting the other person's feelings?
I let them know what I need.
Okay.
So I don't word it as a boundary, right? Well, so one of the things that I'm really big on is when I'm able to, right? And sometimes this happens in real time. I'm not about to sit down on a date and tell every man my trigger, right? Okay. I'm not about to do that. But I know the type of environment that I need in order to feel safe and be my best self and be most comfortable, right? So I'm going to communicate those very important things that I have, so that he knows the type of environment I need in order for me to be my best self and to feel safe, right? So one of those things that's really big on me, really big for me, is don't yell at me. Like, a man to raise his voice at me and yell at me is a trigger for me. It brings up some stuff. And as soon as a man raises his voice and yells at me, it does something to me internally and I shut down. That's not a very good space for me to be in. So I know that's like light, but that's like one of my boundaries, one of my very important boundaries. It's okay to get upset and stuff like that, but like, don't yell at me. And
is the expectations when you tell, that person, like, this is what I need. Now, if they're just like, well, this is what I can give it to you like this. Is there a specific way that you need that person to like give you what you need? Like, what if their idea of what you need is different? Like, this is what I can produce. This is what I can produce. This is what I can give you.
That's really good.
It meets your needs, but it's not how you envisioned it.
So
I struggle with that. Like, I don't understand your language because I told you I needed like this, but I'm just I'm trying to be accepting or trying to work on accepting the way that you're trying to give it to me, but because it doesn't look familiar to me, I'm having a hard time accepting it, even though you mean well.
So intentionality, right? So for me, I'm really big on open communication, right? If for those of y'all who have not watched Jay-Z and Kevin Hart's interview, one of the things that I love most about the interview was Jay-Z breaking down the discord and disconnect between his mother and his father, right? He was saying, my mom was feeling this, right? But she was communicating that. And because she was when she was communicating that, my father heard this, right? They was like, they wasn't hearing
I need
each
to go
other.
back and watch that.
It was really good. So to your point, one of the things I think is important is let's have a conversation, right? Because I could be communicating something to you and saying I need something, and you could be like, but I'm giving it to you. But the way, right? But I'm not interpreting that as that, or I'm not feeling
That's
that.
hard, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is. But let's have a conversation about it, right? Let's clearly express what our desires are, what our intentions are. And it also, for me, my work is to open up my perspective, right? And think about where the person's coming from that's trying to give me something, right? Where his intention is coming from. And sometimes I'm not always going to be able to receive it in the way that I want to receive it, right? But that doesn't mean he's not trying.
Right. I think that's where I not fail, but that's because I can't understand what you're trying to give me, what it looks like, because it's not it's not meshing.
Yeah.
So I think I struggle there, and I can be the accuser of you're not because it's not looking like, or it's not making me feel like I want to feel. But I'm saying, well, this is not, it's not mapping because it's not giving me the feeling that I wanted to feel.
Perspective.
But that's back to that romanticizing.
But then what do you do?
Yep. Perspective, having a conversation, like having a real conversation and not being so stuck on the way it looks like.
What am I going to feel? What am I going to feel it?
But it may never be like that, right? Because you have created what it's supposed to feel like. But like, you can't make somebody make you feel a certain way if they're showing you or in their version of what you're asking for, right? And the other part of that is our inability as millennials to communicate effectively because we were never given the opportunity to communicate. Well, growing up, we never had the opportunity to really say how we felt about anything, right? Unless you had super progressive parents who were really open to like their kids having a safe space to kind of express themselves. You didn't get that opportunity till you were older. So we're trying to catch up on
I don't think our parents knew what no safe space was. Here's your safe space.
But that's what I'm saying. But they weren't even open to it, and they still aren't, right? Like some of us are like almost 40, and we still can't have certain conversations without it turning into like this thing, right? Regardless of what the topic may be, even if it's like saying like, oh, when we were kids, when y'all did this, it really impacted me. No, it didn't. You know what I mean?
Oh, girl, you was cool. You got everything.
So what I'm saying is that like, one, most people don't know how to actively listen. Most people don't even know what that is.
Actively listen.
Like if you didn't even hear what I said because you're so ready to respond to me,
come on,
we're never actually communicating.
I had to learn that.
We're never actually communicating. We're just talking at each other.
Come on, that's
somebody in the chat said
we're just talking at each other.
Most people will hear you but not listen. Exactly. They still have their own goals and objectives in mind. Like my thing is, if I really, really care about you and I really love you and I really am, trying to like make it work, I will definitely take a seat, and try to actively listen.
But how long did it take to get there?
Actively,
because you weren't always there.
I'm still growing.
Yeah.
Right. But you are aware that you weren't even doing that before, right?
I think I'm just so afraid that I'm going to be automatically misunderstood. Or I'm afraid that it's already going to go over somebody's head that I don't even give a chance for anybody to like process what I'm saying. Cause I already know that you're not going to get it.
That's the number one way to suppress your voice.
Yes.
And I'm just like, it's
It's almost like you're going in ready to lose the conversation.
Yes.
Like almost like it's not a conversation for you, but it's almost like a battle.
Yeah. You want to
like you're going into it as it's a battle.
I'm always on the defense.
But why? Why?
I think that it's trauma and not always being understood or not always being heard. I mean, understanding me is my number one thing.
Ooh,
if you do not, you can have a difference of opinion. A lot of people misunderstand me and thinking that I want somebody to agree with me, and that's not it. But if you can't take the time to understand where I'm coming from, most likely we're going to battle. And that turns on my defense mode because you didn't even take the chance to, like, did you hear what I said? Did you internalize, like, let me see how this could have made her feel this way? Let me understand her thinking. If you don't do that, and I guess a lot of people say, oh, you're just too deep. But I need that. If you can't go deep with me,
No.
I can't.
That's
We not even
having a
that's called
conversation.
I
accountability
can't give
in
you
a
nothing.
relationship, right? And whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, whether it's whatever, right? If you're having a conversation and the person is expressing something and you're not willing to see their perspective, you're not willing to be accountable for how you could have made them feel. Even if you don't
Yeah.
agree, you still have to be accountable to acknowledge that that's how they interpret it,
Yep.
because what reality is perception. My perception
Yeah.
is my reality.
That's right.
Yes.
And no one wants to go into that and no one wants to believe that. But how I perceived your actions,
Yep.
you cannot invalidate that.
The first thing they say is, "But I didn't mean."
It doesn't matter. It
Your
doesn't
intention
matter.
doesn't
You did
matter.
not validate
Yeah.
how you made me feel. The end.
Exactly. Oof.
And you don't have
That's
to
something.
agree. You don't even have to apologize. You just got to be able to say, if I made you feel that way, that wasn't my intention. But then that goes back to what? We don't know how to communicate.
So I have a question.
Or I understand is
mental health professional. Let's help the people out here. Let's help us all out here. What does accountability look like when someone comes to you and says you wronged them or they felt like you wronged them? What does, if you're telling me I did something to you and maybe I felt like I didn't, what does accountability for me and seeing you and understanding you look like? What does that language look like?
Accountability, one, is even giving the person the space to come and say that. Right? Because some people won't even give you the space to acknowledge that there's an issue.
Yeah.
Right. So let's start there. That's one part of being accountable, right? Yep. Then the other part is being open to what I just said. Okay, if that's how you perceive that was not my intention, you can give an explanation, but I am not telling y'all that y'all have to apologize, because you don't. Right? Because if you, one, if it's fake, don't do it.
Yeah.
Two, if you truly don't feel like you did something, you can give your perspective, and then you two can, depending on the level of your relationship, agree to disagree, move forward, come to a space where you can say, well, how do we move past it? Because that's the main goal. It doesn't matter if you say sorry. How do we move past this?
Yeah.
That is
right.
big.
And that's the hardest thing with most of my clients. They cannot move past the how somebody made
the
me
infraction.
feel.
They can't move.
They can't move past it. It
doesn't.
doesn't matter who it is. It could be their mom. It could be a friend of 25 years. It doesn't matter. They can't get past it made me feel like, why do you want to stay in that space?
Yeah, that
because you're only hurting yourself. This person is sleeping. They doing whatever they need to do. They've already had the conversation with you. Why are you still there?
Can we touch on that real quick? Most people want to stay there. I have learned when I'm having a conversation with somebody and I'm trying to offer them an alternative perspective, and I feel like there's resistance there, I stop and I say, well, let me ask you a question. Are you open to receiving a different perspective? Because if not, right, that lets me know that this conversation is not going anywhere, right? If you really want to hold true to what you believe I did to you, right, and that my intention was something bad, and you're not open to receiving something different, then now is not the time for us to have a conversation, and maybe we need to have that conversation later.
Yeah, but then the other thing is, you as a person have to decide that if the infraction was that bad, why are you even trying to still mend whatever? Like, if it's that bad that you are not in a space where you can ever come to, let me see it from a different standpoint, let me do X, Y, and Z, I can hear it from this. If you can never, if the infraction is that damaging, then now you have to be willing to decide that this is something that is no longer serving you.
I like that perspective.
Right? So if it's no longer serving me, I let it go and I keep it moving. But see, just like people get so stuck in like, this is a thing and this is what happened to me, because it gives you an excuse to behave a certain way. It gives you an excuse to maneuver and communicate and, whatever, right? And then if that becomes your identity, then what are you outside of that? Because if after you heal, then what?
Well, two things I've learned, because I was always a person that I'm always going to hold on to how you made me feel. Like I'm never going to forget the way that you made me feel ever. But it was me doing myself a disservice. So I have to approach every situation based on the healed me. Because if I don't, or if I don't use what I've learned or use how I've grown, then I'm just going to, react like in old ways. I was just telling, someone this week, like, I am reacting this way to you because of my own insecurities. And I'm making up, I'm using you as the excuse because I'm still hurt about it.
I love you.
But
Come on, grown Keita.
Okay, but it's not fair that I am, acting like that. You're doing something to me because I'm still hurting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like misunderstanding you.
Ooh, that's
so
deep.
These are all like really tough things that you learn in therapy. Like, it does not feel good.
It takes work.
It does not feel good to know that about myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling you earlier, like I always feel like I'm evolving and growing. And then I get to a point where I'm like, dang, it's more growth. Like I'm still icky and I'm still a mess, in this area.
You know what that does though? For you to open up. So if I'm your friend and I'm on the receiving end of that, you being vulnerable like that allows me to let down my guard and allows me to be vulnerable. Allows me to say,
that's how I approach every situation. Because if I go into it like based on how you made me feel, we're gonna go in circles.
Yeah.
So I have to a lot of times bite the bullet and step back. Like, Nikita, you got some shit with you. Like, you're really not. You know what I'm saying? You're not as healed as you think you are. Like, you really need to step back and consider,
you are. You're
like,
healing.
Yeah, like if I'm arguing, like I don't hear anything that nobody's saying at that point. Like, we can be in the text
shut down.
You don't hear us.
I don't hear your text. I don't hear nothing. I'm just going because
I'm angry.
You already triggered me.
I'm all.
So then
all the
when I read it back or I'm listening back and reviewing it, like, dang, like, oh, that's what you had meant. Now I understand. Now that I have calmed down, so I always have to go into a situation.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
out.
Here's a word of advice: can we please stop having serious conversations through text message?
Ooh,
it is the number one reason why people
tones get messed up
and tell me why they no longer talking to a sister or a family member. I don't speak to my mother or my brother because in the text. Like, stop having we have got to get back to verbal communication, whether some stuff is not even for the phone, right? Because I can't see your facial expression. Even your tone may be a certain way, but your face may be something different. We have got to get back to adulting and doing things the way that they should be done, right? And then also we got to learn how to put people in categories, and there's nothing wrong with that. Stop trying to put everybody up here that don't belong up here, because you putting yourself in a situation you already know like how you supposed to deal with people.
Myself to like
you already know how you supposed to deal with them, so why are they even up here to even put you in that scenario? Right?
What is the category? What are the categories?
Whatever you need.
Do y'all put
so this is how it was explained to me, right? And I talked about this before on one of the lives. I forgot what the terminology is, technical terminology is in therapy, but like you draw circles, right? And you're at the inner, you are the inner circle, right? And then you draw a ring around that inner circle, and those are the people that are like closest to you, that you can tell your secrets to, that you really trust, that are like you could be vulnerable with and transparent with. And then there's another circle, right? And a bigger circle around that circle. And those are the people that don't necessarily fall into that inner core, right? Maybe y'all been friends for a really long time and y'all go out once in a while, but you're not that comfortable being, or there's not I guess history there or trust there or whatever. For whatever reason, they're not people that you maybe are necessarily you would tell your secrets to or call up and get advice from, or saying that you need help or something like that. Then there's a circle, a bigger circle in the outer rim, and maybe those are people that you just say hi to, right? When you see them, maybe you once knew them or whatever the case may be. So it's like
the coworker for 10 years that you should never make your bestie,
right? The people that are on the outest circle from you. And what I learned is stop trying to make those people that are on the outer circles, stop using them for what they're not meant for, right? Like, don't call those girl. My therapist told me that.
I need that.
I learned that in therapy when I was well into my 20s. It took me a long time.
What's my therapist doing? She's not telling you about the circles.
Because I was trying to make people who didn't belong in my inner core, I would get upset when they weren't when they didn't respond a certain way, or maybe they would repeat what I said to them. They didn't necessarily prove that they were trustworthy or hold space for understanding me or seeing me. And I realized that I was holding them to a certain standard or expectation that they couldn't fill, right? Yeah. Like, they didn't even prove that they could feel or that they even wanted to feel.
Yeah,
Right?
I found a lot of times that I never really realize because I always will go into situations giving all of me. I just don't know how to
girl.
I'm always gonna be there. I'm always the listener. I'm always the one that's gonna understand everyone. I'm never gonna like really pick sides, but I'm
But
gonna
do
be
you have that
understanding.
capacity?
I don't have that capacity.
Then stop doing
I don't
it.
have that capacity, but then I get upset when there's nobody to have that capacity for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Then
I didn't
stop
did all
doing
of
it.
this. So I'm like, this is crazy. So that's something I have to work on.
So
Like,
that's another thing. People put themselves in a position where they overexert themselves and they volunteer to be something that they don't even have the capacity for. And then they get mad at people when it's abused. But you put yourself as that person in the friend group or the family group or whatever, right? Like I have cousins that are always like, oh, you're like the Aunt Tony of our generation. And I'm like, but I don't want to be. Right? Because she's the person that everybody calls.
Yeah.
Right. Or like she's the one that makes sure everybody gets together. You know what I mean? And it's like that's a lot of pressure, like to be the one that I gotta make sure everybody gets together. I gotta make sure everybody get a Christmas gift. And I gotta
Fred said
you know what I
text
mean?
messages keep us out of prison.
Yes and no, but like some things are just not right. Fred, you know what? Thank you for the engagement, but
Jesus.
Fred, I'm gonna need you.
Fred said he's about to knock somebody out. Don't knock
I'm
nobody out,
gonna
Fred.
need you not to put your hands on people. We older.
I'll bail you out though.
We older. Keep your hands to yourself.
I gave a little dollar to your bill.
No, that's again, we capacity.
Capacity is big, and you gotta know what you can and cannot do. You gotta know what you can and cannot do. It's not even up for
capacity
discussion. It's not. It's like we have to start being honest about what role we play in people's lives, and if we're willing to play that role. Because sometimes people give us a role that we never signed up for.
And why do we want to play that role?
Right. You know what I mean? Like you gotta start being honest about what you can and cannot do, and that goes back to boundaries. If you don't have your boundaries in order, you will always find yourself over it.
Well, what if you don't know your boundary and somebody
your cup is never going to run it over because it's always going to be empty.
If you don't know your boundaries,
decide, like what if nobody has taken you there, nobody has pushed those buttons for you to even understand the boundary?
Absolutely impossible to be it is absolutely impossible to be our age and never have experienced some type of uncomfortability in relationship with people. Impossible. Our children experience it. Our children, if our children are able to articulate
boundaries, that's going to come up.
Oh, that's okay. Right. Yeah.
That didn't come
boundaries. And guess what? They always change. Sometimes which once was a boundary is no longer. They change all the time. Sometimes something that didn't necessarily need to happen, maybe it needs to be. It's really important to you now, right? Some boundaries are like brick walls where they aren't negotiable, and this is what it is. Some are more fluid and like, oh, well, I can work with this, and because you're you and we've experienced this, I can make it more fluid. Like boundaries are ever changing.
I really like how you broke it down because, like I said, that word is just thrown out, but nobody's telling people how to do the internal work. So I think, okay, boundaries are telling you what I need is something specific that people need to
make you feel safe.